I, 29F, am terrified to move to the US for my fiancé, 30M, and he does not understand. My fiancé and I met about 3 years ago. We've been in a long-distance relationship the whole time, and we got engaged about 6 months ago. He lives in the US and is applying for his citizenship. Since the start of our relationship, we planned that I'd move to the US with him. Now, before we go any further, I want to clarify that he is white and I'm brown. Recently, I've been really worried about everything I hear, about people being targeted based on the color of their skin. I tried talking to him multiple times, but he brushes it off and tells me that there's nothing to worry about because it's safe where he lives. A few days ago, I came across a community specific to his area on Reddit, and after going into the rabbit hole, it seems like there's so much of the same things going on there too. I tried talking to him about it, but he told me that he has a lot of diverse friends, and none of them have been affected. He says he understands my concerns, but thinks it's mostly a media narrative, and he got annoyed when I wouldn't let it go. He said that I'm shoving my opinion down his throat when he's the one who's actually living there and has more of an idea, while I've never been in the country and am only reading about it. He said he's trying to be understanding, and if I didn't want to move there, I should just say that and not talk about all of this. He told me that we can go elsewhere, but he has to uproot his entire life to do that, so he'll need time. I feel like he does not understand how serious it is, and I'm worried that if he doesn't understand and moves just for me, he will end up resenting me for the rest of our lives, which I really don't want. What can I do in this situation? How do I get him to understand my fears without dumping my opinions on him? I really don't want to force him to change his mind. Thank you for all the responses. I've read every one of them, and I'm really grateful for the advice you've all given me. Based on most of the responses, I told him outright that I don't want to move to the US. He didn't take it very well, but it might just be an initial reaction, so I've told him to take some time to think about it. Since it's a major decision, I think we might have to rethink our relationship. I, for one, don't want to live in fear for God knows how long, and I don't want him to be forced into doing something he doesn't want or agree with for me. And for everyone who's asked, he lives in New York and I live in India. He can't move here because his field of work doesn't have too much of a scope here. We've had trips to a third country, and he's visited me before, but our trips last from 2 weeks to a month each time. Also, he definitely isn't MAGA. We've talked about it before, and he does not agree with most of what is happening. I think he genuinely believes that it isn't as bad as it seems to me. If my fiancé was not listening to me and taking my concerns seriously, I'd be questioning whether I want to marry him. If you really don't want to move to the US, then don't go. The fiancé is an optional extra. If he's currently not a citizen, how can he be sure he won't be deported? Your fears are valid, and if he said he'd go somewhere else, take him up on it. And just wanted to say he is overvaluing having to uproot. At least now you'd both be doing it. Or is it okay for you to move your life and not him? I, 33F, and my partner, 30M, have been very lucky to live rent-free, but he's not sticking to the agreement. I, 33F, and my partner, 30M, have been very lucky to live rent-free in my parents' apartment for the past few years. The agreement was simple. We each pay $25 a week for utilities, and we each put $300 a week into a savings account toward a future house deposit. Recently, my stepdad told me that my partner hasn't been paying his $25 a week for utilities. He said he was going to raise it directly with my partner, but hasn't yet. I mentioned it to my partner and said to expect that my stepdad would bring it up. Now I feel awkward and stuck in the middle. I feel like it should be on my partner to have that conversation and to pay back what he owes without me having to manage it. For me, this isn't really about the money. It's about sticking to your word and showing respect for the opportunity my family has given us. Honestly, this is feeling like a big determining factor for me in the relationship. How can I be with someone who doesn't seem to respect the generosity of my family or take responsibility for his commitments? I also feel embarrassed that I even have to have this conversation at all. For context, my family really likes him, but this doesn't sit right with me. He's also been inconsistent about putting away the $300 a week for savings, even though he'd be spending that amount on rent or a mortgage anyway if we weren't living here. How would you handle this? What's the best way to communicate that this is fundamentally not okay for me? What did he say when you told him your stepdad would be talking to him about it? Lose the loser. He's giving homosexual vibes. My girlfriend, 27F, thinks I, 28 male, I'm cheating on her, but I'm just looking for an engagement ring and planning the proposal? Well, pretty much what the title says. For the last couple of weeks, I've been acting weird without meaning to. I've been hiding my phone and my computer, closing tabs fast, turning screens away, all that suspicious stuff. Now my girlfriend thinks I'm cheating or hiding something serious. I'm not. I'm actually planning a proposal. The problem is that trying to keep it a surprise is making me look shady as hell, and it's stressing me out way more than I expected. I feel like every time I grab my phone, she's watching me like eyes. I've never proposed before, I don't know the rules, and I'm stuck between wanting it to be special and not wanting to accidentally blow up my relationship before I even get to ask the question. Has anyone else been through this? How do you keep the surprise without looking like you're hiding something awful? Edit. I just told her that I'm actually hiding something to her, but not something awful but actually good, that I need her trust on this matter, and that she will eventually find out when the time comes. Thank you guys. Have you guys discussed getting engaged? Have you actually discussing getting engaged? You can pretty easily nip this in the bud by just letting her see a jeweler's website open on your screen before closing the tab. The fact that you're more worried about keeping a surprise than the fact that your GF's whole world is probably crashing down RN thinking you're cheating on her is really sad. I, 31M, just separated from my wife, 32F, and am worried I made a mistake. I moved out just about a week ago. Mentally, I feel confident I made the right decision, but emotionally I've been all over the place as I've incrementally made contact with my wife and her family, at which point my confidence falls to pieces, but then slowly builds up with distance again. I left because I seriously suspected infidelity, and she refused to provide any kind of clarity, so I walked. Here's the story and my reasons for suspecting. My wife met a guy when she was about 20. He was about 10 years older than her and was her first boss in her career and has been kind of a mentor figure to her. For the majority of our relationship, I never had an issue with their dynamic. We started dating when I was 17 and she was 18. About 3 years ago, my wife started going for drinks somewhat regularly, maybe once every 2 weeks, with this guy and another close female friend from work. Again, didn't have a problem with this. During this time, my wife expressed to me that she was concerned that this guy and the other female friend might engage in an affair. They're both married. I didn't suspect my wife at all at this point, but this was a red flag about the guy, since it indicated that she believed he was at least capable of cheating. Eventually, the female friend stopped joining them, and my wife was meeting with this guy one-on-one for coffee, drinks, or lunch. I still wasn't concerned at this point, but felt it was necessary as her husband to draw a healthy boundary. She said they had talked about meeting once per week, and I said that was too much and ideally, they should try and see each other with other people present, or at the very least, not meet together nearly that often if it has to be one-on-one. My wife did not respond well to this. This was the first major red flag. She expressed that she felt like I was trying to cut a very important person out of her life. We argued about this for a few weeks and didn't reach an agreement, and she even saw him a couple times during this tense period. One night the argument eventually came to a head, and I insisted that she stop having these meetings altogether. She accepted begrudgingly. When she returned home from work the next day, she was visibly upset and told me that she told him they wouldn't be able to meet frequently anymore. She then asked me, how often am I allowed to see him? About 2 weeks later, my wife said she wanted a divorce. From my perspective, this was completely out of the blue. She cited small grievances, nothing even remotely close to infidelity or abuse on my part, more like a bunch of little frustrations. She insisted that the other guy had nothing to do with it. After long talks with me and her family, she agreed to stick around, but never admitted to the other guy being involved in any way. About 6 months of us trying to fix the marriage, which was going well, she went to a work party where this guy was going to be. She hadn't seen him in a long time. The very next day, she brought up divorce again, very much out of the blue. She continued to deny that this guy was a factor in any way. Again, I managed to get her to stay. We kept going the last 6 months, but it always felt to me like her heart wasn't in it. During this time, she's frequently been going out for drinks with friends from work. I don't know these people. They stay out quite late. I know this sounds odd, but I was trying to save the marriage, and I felt that any pushback would result in her just leaving. I've been periodically pushing for more clarity on the situation with this guy. She's given me nothing and continues to insist that it's absolutely not a factor. I even suggested that the four of us, me, my wife, the guy and his wife, get together for dinner. It wouldn't be for me to grill him, but an opportunity for me to demonstrate to him that I'm present and I'm aware of him, and for my wife to show me that the dynamic between the two of them isn't problematic. She refused. In the summer, after I'd made it abundantly clear that I was uncomfortable with her relationship with this guy, she attended a golf tournament for work where she was in a foursome with this guy. The day before, her and another girl in the foursome went shopping for a golf outfit. It was essentially a mini skirt and a neon tank top. Last week, I told her I need some clarity on the situation or I would walk out the door. She didn't give me any and I'm gone. There are plenty of other red flags from this time, but I can't list them all. Her parents have reached out to me since I left and don't want to hear my story and instead ripped into me for being a bad husband. Much of what they said wasn't true and was based on lies that my wife told them. I didn't feel I could respond and correct them because it would turn into my word against hers, and they would believe her every time. All they know is that I suspected cheating because a year ago my wife met one-on-one with this guy a couple times. I asked her to stop, and she stopped. That's all they know, and they won't hear me out. Her dad told me he looked her in the eyes and asked her if she had an affair, and she said no. He said he knows when she's lying, and he believes her. Prior to this, I had a great relationship with her parents and really respected them. The conversations with them have left me very disoriented and questioning my decision. I'm not crazy, right? You made the right decision. You didn't trust her, and she was checked out. Even if there was no cheating, why stay like that? She's fucking the guy, dude.